All right, welcome back to the Parkour UK podcast. Today's a special one. You already know who it is. We've got Orlando Devaux on the couch chair. I guess it's a chair. The undisputed most powerful athlete in our sport. A lot of people consider him to be one of the greatest to ever do it. So we'll stop blowing smoke up his ass and ask him our usual question: how'd you get into the sport?
So when I was a kid, I used to play a lot of it with my dad, like nearly every day.
What is it for those who don't know?
Tag.
Yeah. So like when you just tag someone. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we played like nearly every day, like in the garden, in summer, like in the evening. And I was probably maybe 9 or 10. And I was just like, who's better? And it triggered him to think of like a timing system. Like, how can you quantify who's better at tag?
Mm.
And he thought of it in a like a uh, like a group format. So you'd like have a stopwatch on each person, and you would like go on when they're on tag. So at the end of the game, you'll basically see who has the most time.
So this was just with your family, and you were like, stop watching who was away, like who was it for the longest, or who was not it for the longest.
So for the least, they would win.
Right. Yeah.
And then he signed like on Facebook. You can do meetups. So every week we went to meet these random people and just played it in the park.
Oh man.
For like a few months, and then we went to Chain Store.
Yeah, the parkour gym that's now closed down in London.
Yeah. And I met Klaus and Seba.
Okay, from Team Phat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't Phat then. It was way before.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. How old were those guys then?
I was 12.
You were 12, and
Yeah, I was 12.
is Klaus older than you or younger than you?
Klaus is like 6 months older.
Okay. Yeah. So this is it's probably like a year before I met him. Early days. So that's a decade ago now. 10 years probably.
Yeah. 2015.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so in Chain Store, that's how I got introduced to the parkour community.
Okay, and that's how you start parkour, and then because I find your intro story really interesting, because my understanding was that it was kind of because for anyone that doesn't know, Orlando's dad and uncle run World Chase Tag, the sport which kind of uses parkour athletes and pits them against each other to like essentially get away on a course, and my understanding was that which came first was Chase Tag came first and got you kind of into parkour. Is that correct?
Yeah. So after doing the meetups were kind of to see like, do people even enjoy doing this?
Yeah.
And like obviously they did. So they spoke to Kai. So after Chain Store, we realized like we met Marcus Mead, Ronnie. I met Ronnie there.
Yeah.
And that's where we met Andy.
Andy Tomlin, old school legend.
Yeah, so a few times in Chain Store we're meeting up with these parkour guys.
Yeah.
And then Andy comes in and he's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like diving everywhere, and like we're like, whoa.
Oh, he came into one of the early tag meets.
To the Chase Tag in Chain Store, yeah.
So is this before it was Chase Tag? So you were just using the gym itself and just like playing the game?
Yeah, like we met up in Hyde Park, like before, like AstroTurf.
No obstacles.
Like AstroTurf place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we brought obstacles sometimes, like tape around trees.
Okay. Yeah.
But we used the Chain Store obstacles.
Okay. Yeah. So at that point, like, when did it change from like a bit of fun to like I guess your dad had this vision to like turn it into a sport?
Yeah, so after seeing the parkour guys, he spoke to Kai Willis. He was the first person he got into touch with.
Kai Willis is was he the founder of Storm? He owned it for a while, Storm Furon. Old school sort of London parkour head.
Yeah.
Lives in Dubai now. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, and then Kai recommended Stora.
Yep. Okay.
And then because we did meetups and like a small community started building, like Marrero. It wasn't Marrero that then, I don't think.
I don't know what they would have been called.
There was a few different teams. Yeah. And that was called the Stora Chase Off.
And that
was Worlds 1 basically.
I remember this. Okay, but yeah, and then you sort of had the obstacles and stuff, and
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so in the meantime, like in my garden, we're like building the obstacles.
Yeah.
And testing out like what works the best. We did a test shoot as well.
Okay, so you basically came with like your dad to this parkour gym because you guys were trying to like start this tag thing
Yeah,
essentially, and then
yeah,
you
yeah.
just found the
Mhm.
sport through that.
Yeah.
Okay, sick, sick. And then so I guess from there, how did we get to Team Phat?
Um, so I met Klaus, I met Arthur. I
Yep.
went to a few classes in Chain Store.
Yep.
I met Arthur. I think it was the Liberté Jam, you know, Jay Corker?
Jay Corker, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
London
he had a
guy.
team called Liberty.
Actually, so we just had him on the podcast. Bank, he's one
Yeah.
of the guys from Team Bank. So he had a team called
They,
Liberty.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even know that. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, and they had a jam.
yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of us kind of met. Like I met Luke at the jam, Arthur, Klaus, like everyone who we now know was at that jam probably.
So were you one of the original Team Phat members? You were, weren't you? Or
No,
did you join
no,
just
it was,
after?
I was in another team called
That's
Abraxas
right. Yeah, I've heard this
with
story
Arthur
before.
and Owen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then you guys kind of merged.
I don't know why we were separate,
Yeah.
but we kind of just we trained together a lot, but we kind of tended to hang around in these two groups.
Yeah.
And then once we started training together a lot more, then we're like, okay.
It's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Phat was peaking off a little bit more, I guess. So.
Mm.
Yeah. But that was what, like 1 minute. It was 1 year or so after Phat came in, something like that, or
Yeah.
around then. Okay, cool.
But the original, it was Klaus, Ali, Seba, and Abdullah, and Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the early days of Team Phat and that first video, the introduction and like the absolute levels people were putting on. And then sort of I moved to London and really looked up to you guys and particularly looked up to Abdullah because he was, the probably, is he the oldest? No, Ronnie's the oldest, but he was like kind of the strongest, most accomplished athlete. And he was the one really doing incredible stuff at that time. And I was like, wow. And then, you were just this like scrawny kind of prepubescent kid at that point. I remember, and then you grew and grew, and then I remember when they teased a video. The eye opener for me was they teased this video of like, oh, Abdullah versus Orlando, and you had like a stick off, you had like a battle, right?
Yeah.
In an early Phat video, and then I was like, nah, like Abdullah's gonna kill this kid surely, and then you smoked him. And that was when I realized, like, oh, okay, this guy Orlando's serious. Like, obviously, I knew you personally, but yeah. No, I was like, okay, there's levels to this. So, I don't know. Talk to me about that sort of growing up with that, and like what do you attribute a lot of your progression? Because every member of Team Phat is like a very strong athlete, but have different strengths, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel like you progress then in those days to become like a really strong athlete?
Well, seeing Abdullah, he was 16 then,
Mm.
and we were probably like 14.
Yeah.
13.
And that's a massive difference at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Abdullah, when he was 16, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like even now, what he was doing when he was 16 was insane.
Yeah. It was like, it's like kind of like Max Barker when he was 15, like kind of almost best in the world territory at that age. And do you think
just
that
seeing the pure gaps that he was doing?
Yeah.
That was so motivating. And Ward.
And James Adam Ward at that time.
As well, yeah.
Unbelievable.
He was my favorite athlete then.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I
love the droppy front flips.
Yeah.
To round off 7.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. And to this day, the droppy front flips to round off 7s, like you almost never see that kind of stuff. So do you think a large part of it was the bar just being up here and it was easy to get closer to it, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's just run London as well. The style is just big gaps. It's not really flippy.
Yeah. So the standard in London where you were training specifically for this style was just so high.
Yeah.
So you felt like you had to sort of push to those levels.
Yeah.
When did you feel like you were starting to get to like a strong level in that respect? You know what I mean? You're like earning your respect of it.
Yeah, there's one jump at St. Thomas.
Okay.
Do you know, not the rail part, but the bit over the river? There's a standing pre over the stairs.
Okay. Yeah.
Just by the tree.
Yeah.
And it was that jump. When I made that and Arthur couldn't make it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
He couldn't make that jump.
Okay.
That was the first time I remember, like, when my standing pre went up a level.
Yeah. And then you were like, oh, okay, now I'm on a similar level to these guys that I've looked up to, who are your friends, but then it's also like, whoa, like, okay, I'm getting in there.
I think because I was younger and Arthur's a few years older than me.
Yeah.
So even just in puberty.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Just getting
obviously
that.
gonna have a bigger jump when you're at that age.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then
Yeah.
we got to a point where didn't they have an everyone in Phat versus you video at one
Oh,
point?
that was kind of recently though, but yeah.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
was that?
2023.
2023. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. And so yeah, by the time we got to that point, it was like clearly you're like the most athletic, you know what I mean? And so everyone was just trying to beat you. What happened in that video in the end? Sure, I think you won, didn't you?
We actually did a failed video. We did it before and I won.
Oh, really?
And they were like, "Oh, we can't release this."
Yeah.
I think that's the case. I can't really remember exactly, but yeah, we failed a video because it didn't work properly.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But you did release one like that in the end, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
I can't remember what happened in it,
I just about won.
but it was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't do a few challenges, but then Aaron didn't commit to his.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
so
the
it was
stick off at the end, mine Ali side pre.
yeah.
Like there was no winner.
Oh,
It's
that
just
was the video.
he bounced it, so I
That
won
was
by
that was
default, I guess.
such a good video. Yeah, that was fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was basically you went through a number of challenges and you had to do them all, and they would choose the best person to beat.
Yeah, so each person would set their own challenge
Yeah.
against me,
Yeah.
and I had to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. Okay. So I wanted to ask then, what do you think makes a great athlete in parkour? Because obviously, from your side of things, you're like the technical and the strength is like the strength is clearly unmatched in terms of like your power. So maybe first, what do you attribute that to? Like obviously genetics is part of it. What do you attribute your like immense sort of power in training to?
I think for so many years, every session I did my max jump.
Yeah, maximal
Like
output.
max running pre-is hard because doing a max running pre with a full run up, it's so scary 'cause
So
it's so
scary.
big. But doing short run up running pre's,
Yeah.
like on the block at IMAX,
Yeah.
trying it from the block.
Yeah.
'Cause
Just
I saw that
maximal
was
every
one of,
time.
Abdullah could do it easily when he's 16. I was like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I got that for the first time, I was so happy. And then once I got it, I just drilled it.
Yeah.
Done plyo from the block.
So consistent maximal
Yeah,
output as
max
you're training.
prongs, max everything.
So every time it's like
Yeah.
pushing it physically as hard as you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I remember hearing the UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall talk about this because a lot of people are just like, oh, he just got incredible genetics, and he does to a degree. But he was saying ever since he was a kid, all he's done is try to be as fast as he can, and like
Yeah.
everything was always with the intent of like maximal output. It wasn't like pitter patter. It was like I'm gonna punch as fast as I can, kick as fast as I can. Like everything was about speed and aggression with it. And then, what age were you when you started training?
12.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because so we went to Athletes First, this amazing facility up in Manchester where they kind of test athletes, and the guy who runs that was talking about these windows that you have as a kid for like developing like speed and power and stuff, and there are certain age ranges, and I feel like the last window is around that age. Do you remember him saying that?
Yeah, no, I remember. I forgot what the
What
exact
the exact
windows
ages
meant.
were? He was saying like, yeah, you have like a certain speed or power
Yeah.
activation window from like 5 till 7,
And
then
like
you've got another one.
coordination or something.
Yeah, and from like 10 till 13 if you really hone in on these things. I feel like definitely that played a role.
But when I was a kid, I was always climbing trees, like since I
Yeah.
was so young.
Yeah, so it's always been
Yeah.
like super active, super
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
When you were in, let's say like high school, like college, whatever, did you feel like you were above average or like exceptional athletically?
No, when I was young, I was actually quite bad.
Mm.
Like when I was really young, and I
Yep.
think when I was maybe 8 is when I started to get a bit better.
Yeah.
And then I was like good. Like I was one of the best. When I was like 8, I was like athletic.
Yeah, and like
But
athletics.
before that, I was definitely like not
Yeah.
anything special at all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I was wondering about that because often the case, especially in parkour, it's people weren't that exceptional, you know what I mean, and then
Mm.
developed later. And athletes develop at all different times, but also within parkour, it's not obviously just about who's like the physically strongest or fastest. There's a number of factors. So, I guess back to what I was going to ask before, like, what do you think makes a strong athlete in parkour? Like, because there's a number of things, and how would you weight them? Because we had this debate as well in our like group chat, which you were in, about you, and then some people in the chat was saying like, oh, like Orlando's definitely the best athlete right now, and some people were saying, well, he doesn't have these elements, you know, like the crazy like mental game of someone like Ali. So what for you makes a really strong parkour athlete?
What do I look for, or what do you need to do to get there?
Both, I guess.
Mm. I love Ellis's style because it's just insane. Like the skill level is crazy. But some of the competition lines that I do, I don't find that like cool to watch.
That he
It's like
does.
a big wow factor,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's not that satisfying in how it
yeah.
looks. He's done some sick stuff that I really like, but I really like Travis's style, like big drops,
Hmm.
like especially the things that he's been doing in his new video.
So what are the strongest
It's
components
crazy.
then? Is it like the creativity? Is it the like the raw physical power that he has? Is it like the commitment or like the willingness to do things that other people won't, even if they maybe could? Like what do you reckon? Like there's a number of factors, right, that make up a
Mm.
strong athlete. What because people have various different things they think are more important than others. I was curious what your opinion is on it, like what you think is more important. Like for me, I think for my personal thing, number one, but it's also for a reason that it's the thing I've struggled with the most is like mental game, like commitment, like who has, even if you're not that athletic, if you can commit to doing like crazy stuff, you're going to be at a really, really high level. But yeah, I'm wondering from your perspective, like what's more important, let's say.
I think it's equal.
Yeah.
If you can't commit to anything, it's like the people with the biggest jumps don't do parkour.
Yeah.
They're like in NFL dunkers.
Yeah, of course. We don't have
But
the
so if you don't
best
have any
athletes.
commitment,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you can't do anything cool.
yeah.
But then you need to have some level of capability to do something
So yeah,
big.
so across like strength, technique,
Yeah,
like commitment, and then I don't know, like creativity or doing different things. You kind of just look at it as like an even spread.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like any of those areas you need to improve in yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commitment. Yeah, I rate commitment highly because I don't have the best. So when
Yeah.
someone has a good commitment,
Same for me. Exactly. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm like, that's so cool.
So what's your commitment style then? Like how do you go about committing to a hard jump? Because obviously like usually the mentality generally in most jumps in parkour is like I know I can do it physically, but I'm scared, right?
Mm,
And it's the same with you except your physical capability is far higher than most athletes, you know what I mean? So what's your I guess process for going through it?
yeah. People think I've got a good mental game because I can commit to a lot of things like easily,
Yeah.
but it's only because I know that I'll be completely fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sure, and I've like if you can like splat and like save yourself on something low, I haven't got anything to fear with that, so I can go straight away. But whenever it's something that I'm slightly not too sure about, I find it really hard to push past that fear barrier.
Yeah. Okay, to push into like the unknown.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I get that.
And
Yeah.
each challenge is different, so it's hard to give
Yeah.
an answer on what my
Yeah, because
commitment
yeah, yeah.
style is.
Yeah, but you commit better to one challenge that someone else might find hard because you're like, you know that these are the outcomes, right? And like
Yeah.
I'm okay with all those outcomes. But then when you come to a challenge where there's an outcome which is a bit of a question mark or
Mm.
could go quite wrong, then it's much harder for you to like overcome that.
Yeah, and some people they can have that fear and they just push past it,
Yeah.
and
And
it's hard.
a lot of the fat
I'm not sure what
guys
it is.
can do that,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Yeah. What's it like training with someone like Ali or Klaus who seem to be able to do that quite well? Have you learned anything from them?
Yeah, Ali has always been able to do that.
Yeah.
So I think he was born with it.
Yeah.
Or when he was very young, he developed something that allowed him to do
I
that.
mean,
But
with all
Klaus,
athletes, there are varying levels of talent in different areas,
mm,
right? And then he's obviously works hard for that, but he also has like a strong level of talent for committing, right? Like
yeah,
say like someone like Dom, like he was doing double backflips, 15 years ago when he'd been doing parkour for 2 years, right?
yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
But Klaus didn't have a good mental game at all.
Yeah, he developed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's now really good.
yeah. And what do you attribute that to? Do you think?
He he thinks it's just like pushing himself more
Yeah,
over time. But it's hard to know exactly like how you because it's such a complicated process in
yeah.
your head
And it is different
when
for
you
everyone.
commit to something. Yeah.
I think the common denominator is really wanting it as well. Like really having such a
Yeah.
huge part of like let's say Class for example, his identity as being a parkour athlete. You know what I mean? And wanting to be able to accomplish things so much, and then obviously training all the time, but training with the goal of really really pushing yourself. I mean, the one hack that he told me, which I found really interesting, was when I think him and Ali stopped training, and I mentioned it on the podcast. He mentioned it on the podcast with him. Um, stopped like doing what they were doing and started like only doing challenges if they could do it within like or three preps,
Mm.
did nothing for a while, and then built up with a new mindset. So that's maybe an interesting tip to try if you're really trying to improve your mindset. But I think there's also something to be said from really just wanting it and grinding. And I found that a bit with myself, but also with like Jan from Schlappen, who I trained with. And when I met him, he was decently talented. His mental game wasn't very good, and for years he like slowly developed it. And then at one point there was like a year or two where he just had this big kind of upswing where he kind of locked into it. And I think because he was so passionate and always training, always uh, wanted it so bad that you do develop it eventually. I think like if there's anything that's gonna get you to like a really good level, it's wanting to be there so bad that
Yeah.
you make it like a big part of your identity and then just go for that, you know?
Yeah, and doing things that are scary regularly.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other
If
thing.
you
You
only
need to
train
constantly,
once a month
yeah,
and you try and do the most scary thing, you might be able to commit to it, but then if the next time you train is in another month,
yeah,
you've forgotten what the feeling is.
yeah,
If every week you're doing something scary, it's fresh. And there's like some sort of pattern in your head when you commit to something. It's really hard to explain,
mm,
but you can feel like you can just feel it when you can commit
yeah.
and you recognize it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I recognize that for sure. I think it's really interesting because to have these chats because a lot of people in parkour struggle with this and want to know kind of the answer. And there's no one answer for everyone, but yeah, you do feel that. You do feel a shift. And when you're not feeling that, it might feel like you'll never get there. But you absolutely kind of can. My own experience of it is I kind of peak each season, right? And most of the year I'll train and do decent stuff, and if I want to do something really scary, sometimes I'll go for it and I might not know when I start the process if I'm going to complete the challenge. But
Mm.
when I'm in like my peak in like the height of summer, I'll look at something really scary and I'll still go through quite a rigorous process where I'm really scared, but I'll know that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling. I'll be like, oh, I'm definitely doing this even though it's a real struggle. Like, yeah, you kind of have that certainty, and it comes from just training regularly, pushing yourself to do things that you're scared of, and then like, yeah, developing an understanding of your ability, right? Because like I
Yeah.
understand when I go through that it's going to be really difficult, but I know that I'm going to come out the other side having done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's just this thing in your head that just unlocks.
Yeah.
And when you train regularly and push your mental barriers regularly, it just unlocks easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing I've noticed for maturing as a parkour athlete is the better athletes in the sport are not scared, but they embrace it and they tend to commit faster because they're so scared. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it like I often notice that the ones that do a lot of the most impressive stuff do it quite quickly to try to just get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
a way of moving past it. Like if you take a lot longer to commit, it's becomes harder. Not that you can't. There are athletes who take 30 minutes to commit to really on a regular basis and get them done, but the more you can reduce those times. And I also found myself I've kind of moved past this a little bit, but I found myself for a while dreading sessions in the sense of like, it's going to be so scary. I'm going to have to put myself through all this stress, right?
Yeah.
And like I started to embrace it a bit more after a while, after learning to like stay calm, you know what I mean? And then there's other things like when you don't make it, not letting that ruin your day. Like I've had now, when I was younger, it would ruin my day. And now I've had a few sessions where it's like, I won't commit to something and later that day I'll commit to something even more difficult, right?
Yeah. I know. When I was young, if I was doing something scary, like I couldn't commit to IMAX 2, I'd nearly cry afterwards.
Yeah.
It's
It
weird.
would just because it ruins your like sense of self. Like so much of your identity and
Yeah.
stuff is built up in this, you know?
And there's
And
so much fear and emotion that when you
yeah,
can't do it, it's like,
yeah, it's terrible. Exactly.
yeah.
And like you need to learn how to reset and almost detach yourself from
Mm.
that. Um yeah, almost like it's funny because a lot of the people with the best commitment seem to be so chill and they seem to like not put too much pressure on themselves and stuff. Maybe they do internally, but often find it's the ones that like take it really seriously and like are really stressed and in that mindset, like you
Mm.
said, that struggle the most with commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a weird one for sure. But no, I just thought that was an interesting thing to cover, um, because of like the level in London and the guys you train with, and then like within Phat, who would you say has the best commitment?
Ali.
It's got to be Ali,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Luke's commitment is actually really good.
Yeah.
I think the best way to see who's got the best commitment is like cliff jumping is good
Yeah.
because you know you're gonna be fine, but it's just being able to unlock it and just go
Yeah.
and trust it.
Yes, actually, that's a good point because that's personally when I've found that I've can commit really hard with the cliff jumping because you and I had this conversation a while ago, and we were saying we're almost opposites. Whereas I can push myself to do something I'm really, really scared of if I want it enough, right? I can really force myself there. But I'm scared of a lot of things, right? My base level for like finding something comfortable is a lot lower, whereas your base level finding something comfortable is a lot higher, but you
Mm.
struggle to push for something that you're really, really scared of,
Yeah.
right? And that's that's because your technical physical ability is really high and you train more often than me, right? And whereas I train less often, and then just try to push myself super hard when I do. So it's a weird balance.
Yeah.
But it's a cool conversation to have. I hope people can kind of
Yeah, because if people are good, it's hard to know what their actual commitment is.
yes,
Like Ali's,
yes,
he might just be so good that's why he can commit.
yeah, exactly.
But when
So
it's cliff
yeah,
jumping, everyone's kind of the same level if you're just doing a straight jump or something
that's
like that.
true. Yeah, it depends obviously if you're an experienced cliff jumper or not. But if you have a similar level of experience, it's a good tester.
Or yeah, or like bush jumps. When we film
Bush
bush
jump,
jump
yeah,
videos,
yeah,
it's Luke and Ali.
yeah,
I'd say Luke and Ali have the best.
yeah.
Luke
Because
can
yeah,
just do it. Yeah.
yeah. Everyone has a similar kind of skill level,
Yeah.
but it's commitment then,
Mhm.
and then that's a
Yeah.
really it's a really interesting test actually for sure. Yeah, and I remember a while ago describing like athletes like yourself and Tim Champion as people with not necessarily the best commitment, but it looks like you do. Not that you have bad commitment, but it looks like you have very good commitment because your base level, like for both of you, let's say, is so high that if you're performing a bit below that, it's still way higher than what
Yeah.
a lot of people expect.
I
Um,
think the main reason for that is being able to save yourself.
yeah,
That's the biggest tip to
is
getting a
yeah,
bigger jump as
yeah,
well. Because going back to the doing a jump, like your max jump every day or every time you train, imagine going to the gym and doing weights that are easy for you. You're not going to push your muscles or nervous system to the max, so it's never going to adapt. You're doing stuff that's easy for you. And it's the same with people, like the vast majority of people when they train, they're doing jumps that they make so easily and they're not improving. Like you need to push it.
yeah.
And if you can learn how to bounce and splat, you can commit to the max jumps.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
gonna say. I think
yeah,
that's. I remember when I improved as a parkour coach, I started teaching all my students like this the order of the most priority to splat.
yeah.
And then suddenly, if we're doing an upwards running jump in a gym, they can all commit to trying their maximum jump because they know they can safely bounce off.
Mm,
So I think knowing, yeah, like learning to really know how to save yourself when you're pushing stuff, and there is safety built into the movements of parkour is a massive one. And that's what Alfred Scott, real free running pioneer who did a lot of unbelievable flip stuff back in the day, attributed his sort of progression to. He felt like he could save himself in any position, even on a flip or anything.
mm,
That's what he would say, right? And
yeah,
then he was doing groundbreaking stuff because of that.
yeah.
But yeah, moving on. I guess what so recently it's this podcast timed quite well because recently you've been on a madness, and I remember when you first did the IMAX plyo from the rail, from the rail, and then doing the running pre backwards. So it was like rail, wall, like little block, and then back to the big IMAX
Yeah,
block. I was like, wow, hands down, hardest power challenge done in parkour. You've since done it from just the wall,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I guess what are your like greatest sort of MBDs in parkour, like the ones that you were really, really hoping to do? And what was that process like of breaking down that jump and other ones?
Another one I'm happy with is the plyo from the block. So short run up plyo the main IMAX jump, and then plyo out to the last wall.
Oh, that was a recent one as well. You
No,
also did
I did it in
stride, right?
2022,
Oh, you did that
and I
one in
couldn't
2020.
do it for ages until like a month ago.
Wow. But you feel like you're at like a peak now, right? Like a
That's
new
what's
peak.
weird about parkour. Like you have those one-off fresh days where you
Yeah.
feel amazing,
Yeah.
and then like nothing for months. Or
Yep. Well,
yeah,
that's when what happens when you're doing maximal output. Like not every day is the same. Like when usually when I break a PB in the gym on like squats, I can do it for 2 or 3 sets and I feel awesome, right? But then the next session is like not even close. Like you do have days where you're just a bit more on than other
Yeah.
days, which makes something like the Olympics or something so hard because imagine if you're just not on that
I
day,
don't
right?
know.
Imagine if you're a woman and you have your period
Mm.
during like your event in the Olympics. That must affect your performance. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, we've had lots of women on the pod. I should have asked one of them that, but like, I find these things so yeah, there's a lot of like chance involved, right? When you've got a preset date. Our benefit is that we can do it when we want, right? Um, but yeah, what was I guess the biggest one for you? The biggest sort of accomplishment, MMA
Standing
wise?
pre-ply, the one I did recently. I didn't think I'd be able
Yeah,
to do it for another 2 years.
yeah,
Like honestly, 2 years.
yeah.
I was doing just jumps around IMAX, and Devin was like, "Oh, just do something hard for yourself." I was like, "Yeah, I'll try this," thinking I'd splat it.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, let me try," and I bounced it. I was
Wow.
like, "No way,
Like
I
bounce
could
what the
actually do
corner.
it."
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I'd splat it. I did it as a joke.
Splat it on the flat wall, but you made it all the way to the
I
top corner.
bounced it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was so shocked. I was like, I need to
So you were
try
just
again.
shocked how fresh you felt, was it? Like,
I felt good, but I
yeah,
still didn't think. I
yeah,
thought my jump had to get like at least half a foot bigger to be
yeah.
able to do it.
I mean, it's interesting you talk about 2 years, so you feel like you're still on this upwards trajectory, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I reached a plateau in 2022 just because I didn't do much strength training until
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, so that was what I was trying to lead into exactly because my understanding was that you weren't doing strength training, at least not legs, until somewhat recently.
No, when did I start? I probably I started getting bigger in like 2021.
Because I remember when you did the plyer from the black rail, I think around that time I asked you if you're doing legs and you said no. Then
Yeah, I went like very rarely.
right, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I did like one block and then
Right. Yeah,
stopped.
yeah. And so
It
how
was
do you feel
after
like
2022.
okay. And so how do you feel like the strength work has
I think
impacted?
around 2022 was what was like my limit of not going to the gym, like just doing jumps. That's how good I could
So
have
yeah, you
gotten.
you plateaued in terms of
Yeah,
not going to gym.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And
And
then,
then obviously you have a very strength-based style, so you wanted to continue to level up.
hmm yeah,
Right. So how do you feel like it has impacted your like improvement, I guess,
for sure, it's all the improvement I've made since then.
since then is
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I attribute myself personally like almost every jump I've done for the
hmm
last like 7, 8 years to lifting, you know. And when I'm in a peak in terms of my lifting strength, my jump strength feels like unbelievable
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you can go far without lifting,
yeah.
but you'll reach a plateau.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you can always go further. I was always telling this to George, and I think he started lifting now for the last year and a bit. George McGowan.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think the thing about him lifting was the same as me, which is knee problems. So I needed to lift to not be injured, but then it takes you to another level. And yeah, it's awesome to see someone like you do it because you were already basically at the top of the game strength wise, and then to prove that like you can also add another level with the strength
Mm.
work. I mean, it's the best. It's the best sales pitch for Phat Performance, let's say, or
Yeah. Yeah.
for doing strength in general. But obviously, you guys recently started a business, sort of programming people for parkour and strength, right? It's like kind of
hmm
holistic all around.
Yeah.
So just tell me a bit about that. Like, what is the Phat Performance stuff?
Yeah. So it's me, Aaron, and Luke. Yeah. Parkour coaching, strength training. Aaron is the main one
Well, he's a qualified
building
physiotherapist now, right? Yeah,
building the programs and stuff.
yeah,
Like I'm not that knowledgeable on the strength training side, but me and Luke are just trying to learn from him
cool.
as much as
But
possible.
then you've been doing one-to-one parkour coaching for a
Yeah,
while. So then
yeah,
on the coaching side, you provide a good service there.
yeah.
So what exactly do you guys do for your clients? Like what does it look like when you get on Phat Performance?
Yeah, so we'll build a customized program based on what their goals are, normally just to get as much power as possible.
Yeah.
Um and they can send in like clips. We do video consultations and we'll just critique them on like Kong technique. If they're having trouble committing, we'll look at what they're doing, like splats, bounces.
Yep.
Are they comfortable with that?
Yep.
Because a lot of people say, "Yeah, I can splat and bounce. That's all fine," and then they're too scared to do like a small running
Yeah.
pre. And then you get them to splat, and they can like barely do it. They don't understand the
Yeah.
where to go at the wall. They
Yeah.
don't know what angles let you slip and grip.
I mean, yeah, if you
And
want
you
to
need
increase
that
your
full
jump,
understanding
yeah.
to be able to jump at a wall without any concern.
And I think there are very few people that can really do that well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're probably one of them. The one that springs to mind the most is Geo. Like because he's quite a small guy, but he's powerful, and I've seen him full sprint at his biggest running pre on multiple occasions, bounce off, get up and do it again.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And there is a degree to which like your dorsiflexion, your ankles, and your strength in your ankles need to be somewhat good to be able to do that. Like it helps a lot because or you have to alter your technique, but it is also just comfortability. Because you look at someone like Dominic Fickenbauer or like even like Marcio before his injury and so on, where they could do a massive splat like with ankles completely straight
Yeah.
and just bounce off, right?
Mm.
Whereas my ankles suck, so I need to like turn my feet sideways. But yeah, I think that is the number one skill to improve your mental game on, London City style, like big jumps,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, have you had any like good breakthroughs then? Not only on the strength side, which Aaron does like fantastically, and you guys do Q&As on your Instagram. There's some great content on there. You can really see that he knows what he's talking about,
Mm.
right? But have you had any breakthroughs in terms of not only improving technique, but in terms of what we've just been talking about, like improving commitment of some of the guys and girls that you've had on Phat Performance?
Well, commitment, yeah, like in terms of, I don't know if, yeah, I was gonna speak about being able to just, there's that upper, like pure commitment side of like the cliff jumping thing, being
Yeah,
able to just
yeah, yeah,
like go, and then there's that like base level where you need a decent amount of skill to be able to do it,
yeah,
and you need to know and be comfortable.
yeah, yeah. Because you have this in parkour as well. I
That's
feel
the
like
easiest way to improve.
is to develop your base skills so
Yeah.
things are just easier for you and then
Yeah,
progress from
yeah,
there.
for sure, for
Okay,
sure.
cool. Yeah, because you'd see that it's a beautiful sport in the sense that like you don't get linear progression generally. So you often progress fast and then you lose something and come up and down. But the thing that affords you, and I've seen it with countless parkour athletes is who've 4 years, 10 years deep into the game and they'll suddenly get really good in the space of like a year or two. And it's because they've developed all these base skills and they've I guess just developed a it seems sudden, but obviously it's taken years to cultivate like confidence in their ability, right? And then the commitment has become easier, and then the snowball started where they've done one or two, three, whatever, really scary things, and then they just go, go, go. Have you noticed that with anyone like in the sport?
Mm,
I,
not,
I Fair enough. No, I give the
mm,
example of Cyril from Holland who runs a gym there. He's a really cool athlete. And when I met him, he was I don't know how many years he was in the game, but he was doing like pretty like standard level stuff, right? And then I knew him for a few years, and I always felt like he was almost he loved it, but he was almost a casual practitioner. And then one day I saw him at an event. And he was doing like flip prees to rails and
oh,
all kinds of like
yeah,
really high level stuff, not athletically insane stuff. Like he was never like the top percentile of athleticism, but the technique was there, the base had been laid, and then the mental game developed because of that, and it was awesome to see. Um, so I guess is that's where you'd focus on the Phat Performance, just developing all those base skills, the bounces, the stuff to support you to then be able to commit with like way more tools in your arsenal, right?
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, to get a bigger jump, you need to push your max. So you could just do box jumps,
Yeah,
and you'd get a bigger jump. But then if you can't commit to a big jump, like yeah, you could commit to one that's easy for you.
yeah,
So you could make your base level standing pretty bigger, but it would still be easy for you.
yeah. Yeah, and then the technique and the commitment will lack if all you have is the physical,
Yeah,
right?
and it's boring doing box jumps.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you want to be you want to be pushing your jumps by doing jumps, not box
Of
jumps.
course.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Or not
So you'll
just
be more
lifting.
motivated as well,
Yeah.
and then you'll train harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is good to progress things that way, like because if you don't, it can become a lot harder. I'll give an example of the biggest jump I ever did, the Sheffield running pre.
Mm.
It's a massive jump. I had it hallmarked for a long time. And I knew my strength was there, you know what I mean? And I wanted it bad enough that I knew I'd commit because I just wanted it so bad, and I knew that I was never going to come back there with all the boys and the cameras. But I hadn't done like massive running prees in a while, and it was about a meter bigger than the biggest jump I'd done. So I committed to it twice, but I was so scared, and my technique was just kind of almost went out the window. You know what I mean? And I like slid out the first one, the second one, I kind of like fell a bit to the side and caught over, and I just kind of crash landed them both. I was like, cool, proud of doing it, but I didn't have the practice
Your
before
long
that.
jump technique came
Exact
in.
the long jump. I'd been doing long jump. Yeah, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
been working on I'd literally we've been training with a long jump coach. I was strong, and I wanted it bad enough that I knew I'd commit, but like I hadn't been doing loads of big jumps in the lead up, so you could see it in the performance, right? And I'm still proud of myself for doing it, but it's a pretty clear like example of like, right, if you progressively grown your jump, I would have been able to do it. Well, I went way too fast for one, so I would have known how to control the power. The technique would have been better, and yeah, it would have made more sense, right? So just an example of like wanting to go progressively, let's say.
Mm.
I wanted to ask as well the question that we always ask on this podcast, and we usually get different answers, which is the best transferable skills you find that you've gotten from parkour that you can take into everyday life
Mm.
or the workplace or whatever it is.
I don't know about everyday life. It's
Yeah,
hard to.
or social skills, or
Yeah.
there's a whole range.
Because I've been doing it for so long, I don't know what's
Yeah,
from parkour.
that's a good point. Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, and it's such a sort of consuming thing in your life.
Yeah.
Let's say, yeah, yeah.
I think confidence for sure.
Would it help you in like
Just
a
being good
social
at
setting?
something, it like you just feel more confident.
That's a
Like,
big one. Yeah, and we've talked about that as well. I agree with that. Like when you start to feel good about yourself, like knowing that you're good at something, that you've got this talent, you've got this ability, it does build a bit of confidence
yeah.
because you're just like, it's nice to be good at something,
Mm.
to feel, yeah, to feel like powerful in that sense. Even if you're not like bringing it up or whatever, you just like, I think that's an interesting one that we don't talk about enough is it gives you confidence in yourself as a person. It's like, cool, like I'm good at this thing. And because people, always compare themselves to other people, and you might go in a new social setting, you meet new people, they might be really good looking or really successful or whatever, they might be so impressive. And then often people by comparison might feel worse about themselves or whatever it is, but knowing it doesn't have to be parkour, but knowing that you're really good at something and you worked hard for something and you have this interesting impressive thing about yourself, that's a
Yeah.
big one. That's
Yeah.
cool. So yeah,
Helps with MMA as well. I've been
that's
getting
right,
into that
that's
the
right.
last like
Yeah,
nearly 2 years now.
yeah. Okay, well,
I've
talk to me
stopped
about
over the
that
summer.
briefly because I found that really, I'm a big MMA fan, so I found that really
Yeah.
interesting. What was that like, getting
Yeah,
started
so
in a
in
new sport?
2024, I got kind of bored of parkour
Yeah,
and I trained maybe once every 2 weeks.
yeah, yeah. Slow down. Yeah,
Yeah. So I did MMA like 5 days a week or something. 4 days a week, 6 sessions I did. I did jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and kickboxing.
yeah. I mean, it's a massive sport because there are so many other sports that feed into it that you need such a wealth of knowledge to be good at it. Like you're considered a prospect until you're like over 28, you know what I mean? And you see almost, unlike football, tennis, whatever, where you get these prodigies at 19, you see almost no one reaching the top level under the age of like 25,
Yeah.
right? So there's so much to learn is basically what I'm saying. Yeah, but what was that like for you trying to learn all those things at once?
I was just obsessed with it for a year.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
need to be, I guess. Yeah.
Because I got bored of parkour and that was the only thing, the only main sport I was doing. So
What do you think
I
drew
was
you to
all
it?
in. I was all in.
Because I've seen a number of parkour athletes. I mean, Thomas, like Bob, a friend of ours, fully in on MMA, doesn't
Yeah.
even do parkour anymore. But I can name almost 10 people who've done it. Jared Ludi from the US, fully in on MMA, and he was top tier competitive parkour athlete. What is it that draws? Because they're both very fringe, out there, kind of dangerous, kind of mental side as well, sports, right? Like, what is it that drew you to it?
It feels just natural, like parkour. I don't
Yeah.
have to use an external thing like a skateboard
Okay.
or a ski.
So it's about mastery of your own body.
Yeah, it's just you. It
Mm.
feels similar to parkour in that way. It's like I've mastered or close to mastering the escape.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now
yeah.
it's
The flight, and now
the
you got to do the
fight.
fight.
Yeah,
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 that's
exactly.
that's that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what's the mental side like in MMA training and stuff? Because it's the fear and commitment we deal with in parkour. I'm sure is very different, but there's still a level of that there, right? If you're, I don't know, sparring like a really scary person or something, do you deal with that at all, or is it more just like you're in the technique?
Yeah, I did it inter club
Okay,
last year.
so yeah,
That was
you
pretty scary
you had
because
like
you
a
don't
small
you don't
fight.
know the opponent.
Yeah, yeah. Nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's a little fight against someone. What was that experience like?
yeah. That was alright. Cause being good at parkour, I think the coach sees me as like better than I actually am.
Right. Yeah, because he
Cause
sees that
I'm
you're elite
athletic,
in another sport and you're athletic, then it's like you
yeah,
probably get pushed faster than maybe
and it
you would.
helps me in some aspects, like the wrestling. I can maneuver myself a bit
Yeah.
better
I mean,
and
you're
get into a position faster than other people.
yeah.
So
Well,
it
you just
gives
got
him the
the
slight illusion of
you
like,
got the
oh, he's quite
speed.
good.
You got the speed.
So
Yeah.
he put me up against some guy who was like quite a bit better, had a lot more
Yeah.
training than me.
Yeah.
I lost, but I did like decent. I was fairly happy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, someone because
yeah,
like I was saying, it's such an experience-based sport. So you're probably more athletic than this guy, but like
he was a climber.
if he's
He used to
got
be a
years of
climber.
experience, well, that's another sport that a lot of parkour people get pretty
Yeah.
involved in. Um, yeah, that's interesting. Where are you looking to take the MMA? Are you going to give it another go, or
Yeah, so I stopped over summer just because I wanted to get back into parkour
oh,
properly.
and that
Like
you've
lifting
been
as
doing?
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like took lifting a lot more seriously.
I mean, and that's
And now
obviously
it's
paid
winter, I
dividends.
can't train as much. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I mean,
yeah.
this summer is a big reason I wanted to get you on. Is just like you've clearly reached like a new peak, and you've been pushing really, really high level clips. There will be sort of at least you'll be in the conversation at the very least for sort of star awards, I think. So it's been really cool to watch. So in winter, but you're looking to get back in MMA or just get strong for the parkour, or
Strong, obviously, but that's the main priority. And if I can fit some MMA in,
some
then
MMA.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but
maybe
not
two
back.
sessions a week,
Yeah,
as much as I can do.
but not back to that sort of
Nah,
obsession.
it's not possible. Parkour, MMA,
No,
and lifting is too much, I
you
think.
can only do so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I guess it's nice to have the off season where you can do a bit of whatever,
Yeah.
and then on the on season you kind of need to hone in on one,
But then
right?
for parkour on the off season, you need to be lifting. Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
my
yeah.
main priority. So
Yeah, well,
then
it's
there's
mine
chase
too.
tag as well. There's so many things
That's
that it's
right.
just
Yeah.
hard
So
to
yeah, obviously
balance.
you're still competing. Well, obviously we touched on it with the origin story, but you're still competing like a high level in chase tag. To what degree is that like a priority for you? Like winning the world championships or
Yeah, I really want to win,
yeah.
but we don't have a quad in the UK yet,
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like a
so we can't
French and an
train.
American sport, despite the fact that it was developed by your dad and uncle. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
funny.
know.
Yeah.
It's crazy we don't have a quad yet, but
But what is that going to look like? Just boot
it's hard
camp?
on the motivation though because
Yeah.
if
You
there was
can't
a
train.
quad here, I could train and I could like constantly think about it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like painful to be invested in it and then you can't train. We have to fly to Amsterdam to train.
Yeah. That must be
So
so frustrating.
naturally, I put it out my brain, so it's not,
Yeah.
so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And then my motivation dies.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's
that's
hard to
understandable.
balance it. I don't know what to do. But
I guess when the next sort of world championships is coming around, like you'll try and do a month or two of boot camping before it and try and
yeah,
do what you can, right?
hopefully more than just that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last Worlds, we had 2 weeks, 2 weeks boot camp.
Yeah. And it
And
is a
that was it.
sport. You need to train for it. Like obviously, like I competed with Schlappen and we had like 30 minutes on the quad and then we're like, let's go
Yeah,
for it. And you can tell the people with the experience
yeah.
obviously just murdered us.
But
Yeah.
still, like, then you could get away with just being fast
Yeah.
and being able to move over obstacles. But now it's not.
It's just
It's
leveled up.
so complex. It's the same like fighting.
Yeah. The
If
metagame
someone's got
always
experience,
changes.
they're
Yeah.
just gonna read you like a book.
Yeah.
You haven't got a chance. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the metagame constantly changes, right? There are constantly new strategies and people learning how to
yeah,
counter them
if
and
the obstacles changed, then you could still have a chance.
yeah.
But all the strategy is based on the obstacles.
Yeah.
So because the quad doesn't change, it's gonna get harder and harder for a new person
Yeah.
to be good.
Yeah. But I guess they'll have to just be coached by people that have already done it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of turnover in it simply because like you can't make a living doing it, right?
Yeah.
So people do fall in and out of the sport. They focus on it for a couple of years and then have to go and get stuck into adult life or whatever. Yeah, which is another thing I want to ask about. So you're how old are you now? 23?
22.
22, 22. So you know, moving into that stage of adult life, like how's that looking for you in terms of like all these athletic pursuits, but then also wanting to make money, like build a career? How is adult life affecting your training, I guess?
Mm. I want to get into join movement management, like a parkour agency.
Okay, yeah. Yes, this is Chris
With Chris,
Ilabucca
yeah.
started like an agency to represent parkour athletes, get them paid right for jobs.
Yeah.
So have you had any work with them yet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But I want to go into because they want to cover the whole production, so like directing and filmmaking.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
so they
to
want
make a
clients to come
good,
to them and they do the whole thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because if you've got someone directing and filming who don't know parkour, they just don't know how to film it properly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They don't get the most out of it. So I wouldn't mind getting into that kind of aspect of it.
Getting to the
That'd be
filmmaking
cool.
side.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that'd be cool to see as well. And obviously you have loads of experience crafting stories and filming with Team Phat and
Mm.
what you've done and with Liz Boom and stuff. And then so it's just about applying those same skills to like a more industry standard
Yeah.
side of things.
Yeah.
And then obviously, so you and I are working on a film project, which we can't say too much about, but we started filming, which should be really exciting for next year. I don't know if there's anything you want to tease in regards to it, but I don't want to go too in depth.
Biggest roof gap ever done?
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave
Yeah.
it at that. Yeah, we're trying to craft a bit of a story there, and we're gatekeeping the jump. Pretty hard, so no one else does it.
I think it's pretty safe to say that no one else is gonna do it.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
to be
so
honest,
unlikely not
someone
to
like
find anyone.
Dom when he's fresh, I feel like is just crazy enough to maybe do it and then just get injured, but it like be worth it.
It's
But
the distance though. I don't know.
yeah, it's a bit mad. It's a bit mad. Anyway, yeah, that would be cool to see, and then it'd be nice. It'd be nice to put together a real story and
Yeah.
co-direct it with yourself, and then do some festivals, get some connections happening. Actually, the BFI Film Festival's this weekend. I got a friend who's flown in for it. I'm gonna go and
Oh yeah.
try and network with some people. I got like an industry pass.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I'm in a similar position, trying to obviously done lots of different media work, trying to actually grow accolades as a filmmaker as well.
Yeah.
So that's what you'd be interested in doing primarily, like film stuff.
Once I'm not, once I've reached my prime
Yeah.
or past my prime,
But you're still
I'd
putting
like
most
to.
of your time into
Like
being an
something
athlete,
creative, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then move into something creative. Yeah.
But
No,
the film, it's about me and Ali and the difference in commitment
yeah.
and mental game.
Yeah.
That aspect.
Which I think people find really interesting, particularly within parkour. It's like the difference between an athlete that's clearly physically stronger, even though Ali's obviously super strong, but then his mental side is sort of unbelievable. That'll be a really interesting thing to kind of unpack. And then within that, you know what I mean? Like, we're just obviously going to brute force this film. If we get sponsorship, it's great. If not, whatever. But yeah, there's not like a pipeline for this stuff in the sport. So another question, that I like to ask is where you want to see parkour grow to, right? Because we're small, and if you want to make a living, it's usually as an entertainer doing a bit of parkour, or maybe you'll get a Rebel sponsorship, but even then, that's like an average salary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, what things are you hoping to see from parkour? Do you want to grow competition, commercial interest? Like, what can we get the next generation happening? Because the sport is still just so small.
Yeah. I mean, it's so similar to skating, the community.
It is, but it's about
So I
100
guess
times smaller, right?
the
Than
goal
skating.
would be something like
Yeah.
skating. Get it that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would the priorities be with that? Because skating obviously has industry in terms of selling skateboards and clothing and stuff. So do we want more of that? Do we want more just commercial interests, bigger comps like, Olympics, X Games, right? Well, what do you think's the thing?
I haven't really thought about it too much.
Fair enough. Well, no, that's an interesting point as well. You haven't really thought about it because you're just kind of aware of where we are now in the space, and that like there aren't that many opportunities there for you. Like you're not about to compete in the Olympics or like, be on the like living in the Hollywood Hills as like a famous skateboarder or whatever. Like we don't have the same level of infrastructure, so it's almost for the next generation, right? It's almost not even worth thinking about at this point. But I guess the point you touched on with the movement management stuff would be nice to have more availability of
Yeah,
jobs.
if people just saw parkour as more of a cooler thing that they want.
And you
to
were telling
use
me
as
about
advertisement.
what you're doing now with your Instagram as well, trying to like spur that up, right?
Yeah, I was just rinsing the photos, just doing one post every day.
Yeah.
Probably
yeah.
look kind of random and confusing.
But what's the goal behind that?
Just to make my account look more professional.
Yeah. So if a client comes
yeah,
to you,
yeah, they can see like okay, like they've had like
yeah.
just what they're capable of, I guess.
Yeah. So we can get nice photos like this, for a client, or like some longer video stuff, or okay.
Yeah.
Just an example of the work. And I think that is surprisingly effective. And if it gets in front of the right eyes, it's so simple. They're like, right, they've already done this. They can do this for us. Done. You know what I mean?
Because before they'd have seen videos and they might not know what can we get, what photos could we get.
Yeah.
Now if they go on, they can see, okay.
Exactly. It's a risk.
They've got a good idea.
Yeah. And like you can't even see what we look like most of the time in these videos properly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like, well, what would this person be like modeling for our brand or whatever? So having stuff like that it's a bit of a no-brainer. At one point, I had like a little social media agency, and they were like, "Man, you need photos. Like, what are you doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when I was like dating, you'd link your Instagram, and they just can't. There's no photos of you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like so funny. Yeah. So that's a smart call. So I mean, anyone looking to land some parkour jobs, maybe get some nice photos done. Obviously, these ones were done by Lucas Cannon, fantastic photographer from within the community. You guys work with a lot. Um, yeah, what else was I gonna ask? Competition. So you've dabbled in parkour competition. You sort of won a speed comp here and there. You're doing your
Yeah,
chase tag. Are you interested in doing competing as a parkour athlete?
I am. I wasn't really that interested up until like now.
Yeah,
I just wasn't really bothered, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And what would it be like? Well, you've done well in skill as well,
speed. I'm not good enough for skill.
right? Where do you
I'm
feel
like
like you're not strong enough?
my lashes.
The lashes. So for like an
Way good.
SPL, you're not gonna.
No chance.
Okay,
Yeah, no chance.
fair enough.
Everything else though.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the
The
lashes
lashes.
and like the crab swings or something.
Yeah,
An underbar.
yeah.
No,
That
it's
is,
not
you
gonna
need
cut
to be
it.
so good at
Yeah,
everything to do skill. And the best way to see where you're missing in your well-roundedness in your set of like traditional parkour skills is to enter a skill competition. Then you really like, right, I need to
yeah,
get better at this
yeah.
if you want to be super well-rounded, which I'm a big proponent of. You don't have to be super well-rounded.
Mm.
You can have your niche, right? I think initially the first few years it'd be good to train everything, but it's okay to not be good at
Yeah,
everything.
I think you might do better if you focus on one thing.
Yeah.
It
You do
feels
better
like
in that thing. It's good to
yeah,
have
like
lay the
Dom is with the
groundwork.
commitment and the front flips,
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
specialized.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's insane at loads of things,
Yeah.
but
But the
I'm trying to just
specialists,
specialize in power.
exactly. And the specialists are the ones that
Yeah,
push the sport forward in terms of doing things no one's been done before and sit at the forefront. You
yeah,
can't be the best at everything. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So specialists are a great way to, Callum talks a lot about this, to progress the sport.
yeah,
But yeah, I think everyone should kind of lay the groundwork for a bit of well-roundedness, but there's nothing wrong with specializing as you sort of become more advanced,
yeah.
right? So yeah, talk to me about these speed comps. You would you be interested in? Because I remember you won Project Underground biggest UK comp one time. Would you be
Mhm.
interested in doing
I
like
wanted to go
Fig
back
or
this year,
go back to Project? Okay,
but we
cool.
just it didn't work.
All right, the next one's
Yeah.
March 15th, like that weekend. And
Fig maybe.
Fig, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good one for you because it's so power based. It's so based on like athleticism, right?
Yeah.
And but people have been doing it for a while and the standard is really, really high. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you got in your first one, you came like, I don't know, like seventh, and then a couple events later you were hitting the podiums. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because the standard is super high just to get thrown in there like that. I remember when Brody was winning all the SPL ones, he came like 13th in a fig comp just because it was different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. SPL is very windy,
Windy,
going
and the upper
up
body
and
strength
down.
is because his climb ups are unbelievable. So he
Yeah.
was really good in that area as well.
So he did better in SPL.
Yeah, he won SPL, and
Okay.
then he did like one fig comp and like didn't do that well, and
Mhm.
he like wasn't that interested in going back to them. Um, yeah, so no, but I'd love to see you get in there. So that'd be an interesting
Yeah,
one.
that'd
So
be cool.
I guess what the 2026 season, you'll look at taking that a bit more seriously.
I'm not sure because I don't want it to affect chase tag.
Well, I think there's a lot of crossover because chase tag
It's just more
requires.
with like being injured.
Okay, yeah.
Chase
Is
tag is way more of a priority.
right,
I'll be
but
way more happy with getting worlds, winning
yeah.
world
No, that's totally
championships.
fair enough. It's way more compelling to watch in my opinion as
Yeah,
well,
for
and
sure.
to compete in. But I think the likelihood of getting injured in a speed comp is a lot lower than it is in chase tag.
Um,
I don't know. Maybe you're good enough to not. I think chase tag's quite
no,
dangerous.
it is. It is more dangerous than parkour.
Yeah.
Just because
Especially like a fig speed
you don't
comp.
know where you're gonna go.
Yeah, it's dictated by someone else. Whereas a fig speed comp, like chase tag, is almost like a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's.
Whereas,
I think it's getting less dangerous the more people know the quad.
right?
Because if you've planned out every single
Yeah.
route,
You've got the
I know
muscle memory.
I can like move on it with my eyes shut.
Yeah,
Like I could draw exactly how it would
yeah,
look like. I know
yeah,
every
yeah,
bar.
yeah. Okay, that makes
So now that
sense.
you know everything, and loads of people, most people know every bar,
Yeah,
it's less likely that you're gonna get
yeah.
injured.
Because
But
in
before, a
every
few years
situation,
ago,
yeah,
like people are running like, "What's over here?" and then
yeah.
they just like miss their foot.
Yeah, I remember it
So
happened to a lot of people. But yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. So in every situation, you know exactly what you want
yeah,
to do. That makes
yeah,
total sense. But no, I'd love to see you jump in the fig ones. I feel like, yeah, I don't know, except maybe like pulling a muscle or something just from pure strain. I don't think you'd get injured in those
yeah,
comps. It'd be cool to see. But you do need really good fitness and
yeah.
speed. And you've also dabbled in a bit of work on the track, right?
Yeah, quite recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How have you found that?
that's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
I didn't like when did I start? A few months ago,
With some
or
sprinting
5 months ago.
because
Yeah.
I've done a fair bit of that and I joined again last week to maybe get into it a bit for winter, but I found it helped my parkour a lot. Bit of sprint training. Yeah.
I haven't noticed a difference from just a sprinting yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
but it just feels good to sprint.
It's fun. Yeah,
Because
it's
you
fun.
think you're sprinting parkour, but then you
Nah,
go to sprint on the track, it's like, okay,
yeah.
that's sprinting.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, when you learn the correct technique for sprinting, where you're getting your knees up and stuff, and two, when you throw on those spikes, cheat codes.
Yeah.
Like then you're really moving faster than you've ever moved before. And I look at it the same way as lifting, whereas like with lifting it gives you stimulus you could never get by just jumping. Well, running faster than you can run in normal shoes with spikes and with this technique and stuff will give your body stimulus that you've never been
Yeah.
able to get
Mm.
without it. And then the way my coach put it, like if your maximal speed gets faster, your submax also gets faster. So you're not going to run like that when you're doing parkour, but it's the exact same run up you're already doing in parkour, even if you don't change it at all, will be faster.
Yeah. You don't
Because
have to try and you're going to be
yeah,
faster.
yeah, yeah. And I can attribute a few jumps that I've done, particularly with less run up, because I often take a while to accelerate. I'm famous for like big run ups that to being able to do that, to be able to get off the mark quicker.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, right? I would say lifting is probably more beneficial than sprinting, but it definitely helps. Definitely helps with
Yeah.
that. You looking to keep going with it?
Yeah, yeah. Just been trying to get the technique for accelerating and then the upright running as well.
Cool. Yeah, I might even hit you guys up to join you for some sessions
Yeah,
because I
Pad
used
Rec.
Pad Rec. Yeah, maybe I'll come through because my coach just had like a baby, and so I used to drive up with him, and now that he's not going anymore, so I have like a really long commute to get out to Lee Valley where I
Drove
train.
up where?
I used to drive with him from East London to and from, right? And now like I have to go by the train with to go just with the head coach, so it's like 3 hour commute. So maybe I'll join you boys and we'll
Yeah.
get some sprinting going. It excited me
How
a
long
lot
is
when
it
you got
to
into it.
Paddington?
Uh, Paddington Rec from me, like an hour, but it's probably closer from my girlfriend's place. I'll see anyway. But yeah, it's cool to start developing a small community of people doing a bit of
Yeah.
athletics in parkour, and to just show, especially with the example of like people like yourself and Luke and Aaron and stuff, like how beneficial it is. Already at the top of your game, doing this, getting better, right? It's undeniable that the benefit this stuff has. I mean, it was already undeniable. Like every sort of high level athlete in any sport does some form of strength and conditioning. Um, but yeah, it's cool to see. So
Yeah.
no, that's super exciting. And then I guess so yeah, I'm also on the original point, like I hope to see you do some comps next year. It'd be really fun. Be fun to see you
Yeah.
out at FIG, get some of those comps done.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
with Parkour UK, we're gonna host I think next year the plan is to host a championships in the UK separate to Project Underground,
Okay.
and then also to have a world championships, which will be in the Czech Republic. Yeah, I think that's the rough plan. There's a good chance I shouldn't have sort of mentioned it, but I think I have on another podcast. So if the CEO of Park UK gets on to me about it, sorry. But there are so few opportunities to really compete in parkour without traveling internationally. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
there'll be more for you there. And we'll be consulting, people like yourself on like how the formats we wanted to run. It won't just be us like dictating everything. We'll get obviously people like Ed Scott in and ask them. Yeah, sweet. So I guess finally, and we kind of touched on it, what are the main goals for yourself? Because we've talked a lot about it, to be honest, and there's a lot of things that mentioned, but like what's the priority kind of moving into
Power.
the next year? Power, just
Power.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the world record,
Oh,
just
yeah.
vertical jump, is 51 inches.
Okay, yeah.
And the broad jump is 12'3".
Yeah, it's like 373.
Yeah.
3
I'm
meters
pretty sure
73.
I've got around the 40-inch vertical, maybe a little bit more.
What was the world record?
51.
That's a lot
It's like
that's a
this
lot to
much shorter
go.
than mine.
That's a lot to go. I did see
And
your
the
one.
broad jump is like this much bigger.
Yeah, I
Something
feel like
that.
broad jump's more achievable. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they measured from the heel as well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like it's about that much.
Like that guy can make IMAX running pre-standing
That's insane.
with that jump.
That would be
That's my goal.
the
That's my
ultimate
goal.
pinnacle
Yeah.
of your career, wouldn't it? Like
Yeah.
IMAX running freestanding. I mean, I remember when you did the mini spot in Brighton standing, and it was actually that was a great
Oh, in
comparison.
2023.
That was a great comparison. I was there when you did it in 2023, and Callum was freaking out, and you just made it, and then you did it the other day and made it look not hard.
Yeah.
Like it's not your max anymore.
No.
And it was back then,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so that's really cool to see. So that's awesome though. I love that. You're like already clearly the top in that part of the game, and just there's still room to improve. Let's hone in. Let's see how far you can go. Why not? You know what I mean?
I know.
I find that personally as an athlete the most exciting as well. When you find you're really good at something, just getting better at it. Like,
Yeah, just
let's
lean into it.
just lean into it, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is what Ellis said when I interviewed him as well. He's like, I just try to think of what the level will be in 5, 10 years and do that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's hard quote.
Sick,
Hard
yeah,
quote from Ellis, man.
that's cool.
A lot of people consider him to be the greatest
That's what he's
athlete now.
doing. That's crazy. Yeah.
100%. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. That's cool to see. And then
The congainer, like pre to that thing, like in front of the wall.
yeah, in the
That is
comp.
insane.
Yeah, I know the SPL. I think I might actually be there next year because I think we might go out there with a Schlappen, and that looked the groundbreaking stuff that gets thrown down in Sport Parkour League is sick. But also the Shay's Congainer Pre to the rail was just
Oh yeah.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
And he's a great example of what we've been talking about actually because I remember meeting him in London a couple of years ago. He came with Ellis, and those guys are so talented, right? Twin parkour, those twins really good friends with Ellison, and they trained with him a lot. And they basically the technical ability was almost the same level as his. But I remember telling them to like straight up, I was like, boys, like the only thing holding you back compared to someone like Ellis is just your physical strength. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like they were these wiry, like almost like teenagers, right? And
Yeah, Ellis is strong.
yeah, Ellis is really strong, right? And he does lift and do the stuff as well. And he's got probably more natural strength as well than them. Um, and that's started to change. Look at Shane now. Look at him doing the Congainer Pre. He must be doing some strength work because he's bulked out and he's
Mm.
stronger and he takes landings better. And when you're doing, double layout like flyaways and trying to land, go straight into like a cast, you got to be able to stomp those landings. And I think he's finally starting to sort that out and really giving people like Ellis a run for his money. Like sometimes he'll get the win over someone like Ellis. I feel like the gap is actually closing between Ellis and the other guys in competition.
Mm.
And because there are multiple athletes doing triple flyaways now to hard floor. He's still ahead, but I think it's closing. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
the competitive landscape, they're all getting so good and they're all doing strength and they're all just so locked in. Like it's exciting to see. You know what I mean? Obviously in London, like we all suck at flips, but it's great to watch. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
it'd be cool if the athleticism in parkour would just go up. Because
yes,
how we're a jumping sport and we haven't got the biggest jumps. That's shameful.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's
That's what I'm saying.
shameful.
That's what I'm saying. That yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how's an NFL guy got a bigger standing broad jump than a parkour guy? That's insane.
Come on, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, the simple reason for that is the genetic pool that goes into NFL is basically the
Yeah.
whole of the United States,
Yeah.
and the genetic pool that goes into parkour is a tiny fraction, and that's such a huge part of it. But I'm with you. Let's
We're not
take him
having
on.
it.
No, we're not having it. Let's take him on, mate. If you broke one
Yeah.
of those records, that'd be so sick.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to see that. And yeah, I'm with you. That is an interesting one as well. If you look at like with the example of MMA, the reason Dagestan are the best region in the world is because it's the only sport they do. They all fight. So 100% of the
Yeah.
genetic pool go into one area.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So we need more people doing parkour and we need to step to these other sports. How are they gonna chat to us?
I know.
You know what I mean? They can't do any roof gas. How are they gonna chat to us? 100%.
But imagine you had a jump as big as them. You could make IMAX standing pre.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
But then you do that with a roof.
I think that something
It
like
would
the
look crazy.
NFL athletes are like probably overall like the most athletic athletes in the world almost
Yeah.
in terms of pure like just power. And you can get drafted into an NFL team purely based on like your stats on on athleticism.
Mm.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. All right, that's the goal. Next time we have you on the pod, break a world
IMAX is
record.
done.
IMAX is
standing
done, standing free. Yeah, come on. Yeah, we'll get the gun fingers out for that one for sure. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah,
That was brilliant.
cheers for having me. Yeah.
Nice one. And get onto our website, parkour.uk, best URL in the game. We've got news for the community, upcoming events, all kinds of articles. Actually, the articles people have been reading them. There's been a really great response recently to some of them. I got some other great content. The Bristol project's out with Travis, Danny, Joe Scandra, Dom Tomato, Danny Pierce. So get involved, parkour.uk. And if you've never done parkour before and you listen through this whole podcast, it's probably time to start. Cheers.